And this is the Artist Spotlight right here on Nextdoor Radio and nextdoorradio.com. Here by way of recorded for presentation at this time by way of our Zoom meeting. Chloe Caroline Fellows, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Yep. So I tend to go back and forth quite frequently, but LA is my main hub. But I did live in Nashville for a very long time, and I still kind of split time.
I think I had Nashville because I was looking up a few things about your songs, and that's the first thing that popped up was Nashville. So that's on me.
Yep. It's an important base for me for sure. I love it.
Absolutely. So how was LA? That's again, the
Yes.
time difference is extremely different compared to Eastern time zone in North Carolina. But how is it up there?
For sure. LA is great. It's actually a beautiful day out right now and not as humid as Nashville, which is awesome. And yeah, I've been traveling a ton, so I'm a little bit under the weather, but just happy to be here.
Be mellow. Be settled down for just a couple seconds. I know it's
exactly.
An artist's job is not hard or not easy at all. So
oh my gosh, yeah.
So explain for those that don't really know who you are and never heard your music. Talk about who Chloe is. What kind of music do you want our listeners know about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Chloe Caroline once again, and I've been an artist for my whole life, basically. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. I wrote my first song when I was like 6 years old, and ever since then, I feel like my intention as an artist is to write, obviously tell stories, but make music that allows people to feel included, feel accepted. I want everybody to feel like they have somebody like they can count on or relate to. You know what I mean? Like my whole goal with what I do with anything, whether it's with singing or writing or just like being somebody's friend, I just never want anybody to feel alone. And so I try to really, put that out there, my authenticity out there, so then people feel like they can be themselves as well. And yeah, so that's what I try to do. My sound, I call it a new Southern California sound. So I was born and raised in Southern California. So it's definitely got this sort of these West Coast like vibes. I grew up listening to a lot of artists from the 70s, like Stevie Nicks and Carole King. And so I've got kind of those influences, but also was raised in the time of, Michelle Branch and Avril Lavigne and these other like iconic like female pop artists. And kind of created this sound. It's a little bit of a combo of both. So it's definitely pop, but also has this kind of real instrumentation tied in there. Almost like a female Harry Styles sort of vibe.
The perfect. I love that. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and start writing your music, I know you're very on Facebook and social media. You love telling your story about where you come from and where you've been and how you write your music. But I want you to kind of put in your own words for our listeners here on the Artist Spotlight of when you sit down and start writing your music, where does that inspiration really come from?
Yeah. So I think it changes all the time. I feel like when I'm writing alone, a lot of times I'll be sitting there and it's definitely almost like, it sounds crazy, but almost like a download. Like literally I'll be sitting there and all of a sudden, like I'll just be kind of messing with some melodies and then like lyrics will just kind of start pouring out of me as it's kind of happening, like all at once, if that makes any sense, like the lyric and the melody at the same time. But a lot of times, most of my inspiration comes from personal experience and just the world around me. I love to go on like long walks and I'll just sit there and I'll just think and I'll observe and take things in. But for me, how I process my emotions is definitely through music and through writing. And so if I'm going through a hard time, like the first thing I want to do is get out my guitar, sit down at the piano, or if I don't have either, doesn't even matter, write a lyric down and kind of get it out. It's how I process things. And I'm really thankful for it. I sit there and I'm like, man, if I didn't have this, I feel like I would be insane.
Do with myself. I know. Yeah.
No, I feel so lucky. It's like a friend. I'm like, I don't know what people do that like don't have this.
Yeah. So again, you're in LA right now. You put out 2 brand new songs. One is called Ready, which we're going to talk about. We're going to play both of these songs at the end of our segment today. But when I first recognized who you were and heard your music was actually a Christmas song. And I reached out to you on Facebook and said, hey, can I play this song? I'm going to an event for a Christmas show. But what I loved about it, it's not that traditional kind of Christmas song. It's more of the other way around. So it
Sure.
goes like that. That's why I love what your music, because it is a little bit different, but it's got a great sound to it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I try to put something fresh on everything that I do, but I also want people, like I said, to like find something in it that they relate to, some sort of nostalgia. Like that's why I love combining like the old and the new and real and synthetic, kind of like getting this combo so that there's something in there for everybody, you
Yeah,
know?
I love that. So talk about Ready, the one that came out
Yeah.
in April. Let's talk about that song. Where did that come
Yeah.
from? Give some credit where credit's due to some writers that you have and your band members there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ready is a song I wrote with Johanna Kranich and my producer, Darren Rail. And we wrote it in Nashville. And it was at a time in my life when I was really feeling very stuck. I was living in Nashville at the time. I'd been there for a number of years, and things were going well. I felt like I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, and I was having these little wins, and I was managing my writing and my music. I was playing gigs. I still had a social life, but I had a boyfriend at the time that I was like managing that relationship, but it was just managing everything. It's like I had my hands in everything, trying to control everything so that nothing could shift. But in that, kind of felt very stuck, if that makes any sense. And I remember feeling very frustrated too, kind of with where I was at with things. I was very grateful for the little wins I was having, but I felt like I was ready for more. And I had a producer, I had somebody tell me that they didn't think I was ready. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm doing everything that you said I should be doing. I know I'm ready. And it kind of took that person saying that to me and wanting to prove them wrong for me to make some big decisions. And that included, moving to LA. It included, ending a relationship. Like a lot of different things that I'd been kind of very much on the fence about for a long time, because I was just scared of what would happen if I let go of one thing. And so I really kind of had to trust the universe that like my intuition was right and I needed to make these decisions in order for bigger things to come in. And that's really where Ready came from.
That's why I love talking to artists about how they write their music, because you never know. It could be a happy tale, it could be a sad tale.
Sure.
Something dramatic happens. So as an artist, though, when a record label or your boyfriend or a family member says, "Hey, you're not good enough," as an
Right.
artist, what is that? Your first thought when you hear that? What runs through your mind?
Yeah. I think when somebody says that, first of all, I feel like nobody can dictate that entirely. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at the end of the day, I try to always remember why, like, what is my why for making music? And like I said, like my why is because I want people to feel related to. I want people to feel like they have someone there for them. It's, I if I can be that person, if I could spread a little light, then like I'm doing my job, and I would do it anyways. That's my thing. It's like, it's the first thing that I do, whether I'm making money or not. And so somebody else telling me, oh, you're not good enough. Well, in some regard, who cares? Because I know I'm going to do it anyways. Like it brings me joy. So at the end of the day, it brings me joy. Not everybody's going to like my music. That's just the facts, not everybody's going to like me or like you or whoever. And so I think learning to take that rejection as not a rejection, but more, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. I guess it's how you internalize it. For me, like I don't take it as a rejection as much as sometimes it hurts and you're like, really? Please like it. What do you mean? I kind of look at it like, well, if it makes me still feel good, if I'm still enjoying it,
Right.
and there's one person out there who's also enjoying it, then who are you to tell me that I'm not good enough?
Radio broadcasting is the same exact way. It's
Yeah.
you always want everybody's satisfaction, but excuse my French, but you're going to upset some people, which is that's what
Sure.
you're supposed to do as a guest of radio broadcast.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love the real stories kind of things and the facts, and it interests me, and I love that.
Yeah.
Kind of go back. You told a little bit about how Ready came about. But going back from, you said you started at 6 years old. Again, this Chloe Caroline joins us right here in our artist spotlight here on Next Door. Go back to when you were younger and you realized you found your voice. You found hey, I want to do this really for the rest of my life. That moment, what did you tell your family? What did give me some
Yeah.
stories and some interesting things along the way, should you say?
Sure, yeah. So like I said, yeah, I've been playing since I was 6. I started with piano and would kind of just make up melodies. And my dad was always singing around the house. My dad was in bands when I was younger and a songwriter himself. And so he was always singing, making up songs. And so I would do the same. And I would do it just because I loved it, but also just to make my sister laugh. And I just loved making up melodies. And that turned into creative writing as well, just even in regards to like writing stories. And like I started writing like little chapter books when I was in like 4th grade. I just loved using my imagination and using words to make that come to life, right? And then when I was 11, I got very sick, and in that time felt very alone because I was on independent study. I wasn't in school anymore, and I picked up the guitar. And when I did that, I felt like suddenly all the poetry I was writing could, it had a way of coming out in a different form than just like me and the piano or whatever. And I hadn't really been playing much piano in between those years. It was mainly just me singing in a choir, singing in my bedroom. And so I started posting songs on Facebook. And then the response I was getting was very positive. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, she had a lot of work to do. But whatever, like even back then I knew, okay, like this is something I'm enjoying. I want to share it with people. And so eventually I was going to school, and mainly this is in high school. I was going to high school, and my friends would come up to me and they'd be like, where can I want to listen to your song. Like, can you record it? I really relate to it. And I was like, really? Like, okay. I at the time I was doing it for me because it was therapeutic for me to write about my experiences, and to think somebody else related to it. That was the first time I was like, oh, okay, like maybe this is good, and then when I was 17, I recorded a couple demos of original songs I'd written, and that was the first time I'd been in the recording studio, and that was here in LA. That was super exciting. And I think hearing those back, it was kind of full circle for me. I was like, wow, I want to do this again and again and again. And so at 18, I moved to Nashville. I didn't know anybody. I wanted to experience somewhere different and somewhere where there was a lot of other people that did what I did. As much as I lived in LA, like I was still living in a little beach bubble, and I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't like joyriding around like the big city and like, and it was just so big. And so I felt like I needed to be somewhere to kind of figure out who I was as like an artist, and also just gain some independence. And so spent a number of years, writing with other people, collaborating, playing shows, and building a fan base.
Oh, I love it. So where can our listeners find some information about some, gigs, about anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Music? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so I have a website, chloecaroline.com, but also I'm on every social media. So Instagram, Chloe Caroline, TikTok, I'm Chloe Caroline, Twitter, I'm Chloe Caroline, YouTube, all the places. I'm there. I also have a number. My phone number is like in my Instagram bio. So people can text me, and it's actually me, and they'll get updates on everything going on, and we'll get to connect a little deeper than just your typical social media DMs.
Yeah. So regarding, again, and my listeners know I'm not a big fan of talking about the pandemic in 2020 because, we've talked about it for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
But you mentioned before, trying to figure things out with some brand new music that's coming out, the heartbreak, people telling you you're not good enough, and you're the reason why you wrote your song. Is things starting to lift up regarding gigs and new music, more music? How's that working out for you?
Yeah, no, it's been really, really exciting. Like I said, I released Ready and a music video for that song. And then I just released a new summer song called Lemonade Dream, actually last Friday. So really excited about that. And I have a music video for that song as well, which is hilarious. We did it all super DIY, but it's kind of like a parody meets a rom-com. It's awesome. There's a full storyline. And right now it's number 4 on Vivo's incoming pop, which is really exciting. So it's a fun summer song, funky pop, definitely makes you feel good. So I'm pretty pumped about it.
Okay. Talk about Lemonade Dream. How did that come? You said it's a little upbeat. It's a funny, it's kind of, I love that. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I've been working on an EP, and then while I was waiting for that to kind of finish up, I was like, man, I've never really done a full-blown summer song, and it would be fun to do something a little bit different, a little bit lighthearted, but in a way that wasn't just your typical summer song. I was like, what if I want like a really cool melody and like kind of a weird, quirky title. And so when I was thinking about everything that was summer related, all just the different things that make summer, I kind of had this idea of, I was like, oh, like a lemonade dream. Like, what if that was a way to describe kind of what this relationship could be like if two people gave in, and had this kind of summer love and didn't overthink it. And it was all of the things that kind of qualified a perfect, ideal summer, basically. And so, yeah, using a ton of different imagery and also just old school references to like the past, and there's some cool lines in there which I really like, and it's like I said, a little bit funky but definitely pop as well.
Well, I'm excited to debut it here on Next Door Radio for all of our listeners here. So if you don't mind, let's intro those songs, both of them. So
Absolutely.
We're back to back here. So let's start with Ready. Let's intro that one and then get into Lemonade Dreams.
Okay, cool. So hey guys, I'm Chloe Caroline, and you're about to listen to my new single, Ready.
Holding on, I guess that I've been holding on. My hands are slipping, grip is worn. I gotta let go, I need to let go. Break the chain that's only getting in my way. Don't have control of yesterday, so I'll let go, I gotta let go. Open my hands, lift up my chest, stand on my tiptoes, take a deep breath. I'm ready, no one can tell me I'm not ready. Ready, set, go, I'm gonna just fall into the sea. Ready, set, go, I'm gonna just fall, I'm feeling free. Scares me, can't see, but safely staying down my knees, and I can't feel my feet. I give it all up to gravity. I'm ready, I'm ready, oh, I'm ready. No one can tell me I'm not ready. So long to all the voices singing songs, taunting me, don't you get it wrong. Gotta let go, I need to let go. I won't play a tug of war inside my brain, push and pull to overthink. Gotta let go, I need to let go. Open my hands, lift up my chest, stand on my tiptoes, take a deep breath. I'm ready, no one can tell me I'm not ready. Ready, set, go, I'm gonna just fall into the sea. Ready, set, go, I'm gonna just fall, I'm feeling free. Scares me, can't see, but safely staying down my knees, and I can't feel my feet. I give it all up to gravity. I'm ready, I'm ready, oh, I'm ready. No one can tell me I'm not ready. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, that my palms don't shake and my heart's not pounding. But screw it, I can't stop the clock from ticking. I feel won't tie me down from living. Highs and lows, right songs worth singing. Yeah, we need 'em. Ready, set, go, I'm gonna just fall into the sea. Ready, set, go, I'm gonna just fall, I'm feeling free. Scares me, can't see, but safely staying down on my knees, and I can't feel my feet. I give it all up to gravity. I'm ready, I'm ready,
single, Lemonade Dream.
I'm gonna get you to believe that you and me will be a fireworks show. Easy tiger, let it breathe. Don't overthink it, you can let it go. Let it go. 'Cause we got dreams to make, and we can't let them wait. We got the playlist playing sex on fire. So let's just call it fate. Don't waste another day, 'cause we can't let it get away. We could be cherry red, just as hot as a sunburn, melts in your skin. Picture life without winter, the 4th of July. But babe, we do it better. Lemonade dream, the summer with me. Love like a lemonade, lemonade dream. Boy, spend the summer with me. Boy, a never-ending Friday night. Skinny dipping in a motel pool. I can take you back in time when we were kids and there were no